The haunting hour is at hand. Ghostly haunting since time began. Raw side paranormal seeks the truth, looking for some kind of real proof. Creepy floorboards and eerie dark mist. Grab your camera and document this. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this from the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the wrong side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your AirPods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. The icy air touches your neck. You feel like screaming, but you stay in check. All's rising up to take the magical flight. You can't believe what's happening tonight. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this on the raw side. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this on the raw side.
Hello, everybody. Happy hump day. Woo! How's everybody doing tonight? Let's see who popped in to join the fun. We have Sir Spookfest. Hello, sir. Hey, Faith. Hello. Betty, hi, Betty. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Hi, Julie. Michael, always a pleasure. Lovely. I'm glad you all could pop in and join us tonight to welcome the mysterious and famous Lady Victoria Darkwood, known to us as Susan. So if you guys would put your hands together. Oh, thanks. Great song. Thank you very much. Actually, I wrote the lyrics and Philip did the music for me. Wonderful job. I always brag about him. He did a great job. Guys, put your hands together and welcome Susan to the stage. Hello.
Hello. How is everyone?
We're holding it together, I hope, and hopefully everybody in chat is as well. How are you doing? Hanging in there?
I'm hanging in there. I can't even. I've been so busy. I don't even know if it's morning, night. I don't know. No idea.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Everything kind of like blends. This month has just like totally like disappeared.
Exactly. It's going by so fast. A year.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm in panic mode because I've got a bunch of stuff I have to finish up and have ready by the 1st. So I'm kind of in a panic mode. But I'll get it done. I hopefully get it all done. And welcome everybody. I'm glad everybody can make it.
Welcome.
I don't know if you guys had seen, I was on Susan's program, had a great time.
It was amazing.
Hopefully we can do it again someday. You guys, her link is in the description. So if you want to check her out, and please sub to her channel. She has some great interviews going on. She also was doing that with Angelina, Bad to the Bone Paranormal. Check her out as well. But Angelina's been taking a step back. Mm-hmm. And now you got Justin in there, right?
Yeah. She's doing well. She's recovering slowly. And she's doing good.
Good. That's good. Yeah, I haven't talked to her in I think about a couple of days or so. So
yeah.
long as she does what she's supposed to.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all
Oh,
you could do,
wonderful.
right?
Yeah, that's all you could do. One step at a time. That's all you could do. Sir Spookfest, he subbed. Great. Yeah, check out. She's got some great interviews. And I hopefully you're going to enjoy some of her adventures with us tonight.
Hmm.
And but I always ask everybody the same question in the beginning because in other shows you always say, "Oh, we want to jump right into the investigation, the paranormal." But
Yeah.
I like to know the person behind the scenes. So we know it's Lady Victoria Darkwood, but we would like to know about Susan. Who is Susan, and why does she do what she does?
Ah, aha. The
Ah,
inside out. So um, I've been in the paranormal for God, 20 or so more years. The reason why I got into it is basically there was an ad in the paper looking for to start out a paranormal group, CMPS, Central Mass Paranormal Society. It was a woman that was a close friend of mine that wanted to get a group together. So I said, hey, why not? So I went over to her house, and at the time there was tons of people there, and they all had their own mix. There was a couple of tech people there, photographers, things like that. So I ended up joining the group, and we clicked well. There was about 10 of us to begin. And again, each of us had our little nick. We had tech people, debunkers, we had photographers. So we all had our special nick to put together as one.
right.
So the first we did residential, which was amazing, and then later on we did locations. But through a period of time, the founder actually had developed a lot of medical issues. So she asked me to take it over. So since then, it's been about, I would say, 5 years now that I've
Right.
been primarily the person for Central Mass Paranormal Society. It's just myself right now, but I am collaborating with other groups. I'm working with Angelina as well. And hopefully I'll connect with other groups in Massachusetts so we could all go out and investigate. So that's how Central Mass Paranormal Society started.
Hey. As far as yourself, now a lot of people don't know this, but you have some special gifts.
I do. I
Would you like
do.
to share some of that with us?
So go back to the history. So, and probably everybody, could kind of feel what I've gone through. When you grow up, especially in a single family house, you sometimes, don't feel the connection as well as what I did. I was at like a dark point in my time. I was, not in the right state of mind. So it was funny because I snuck into my mom's cupboard and I found a witchcraft book, but I believe it was Black Magic, like the actual witchcraft book. So I started experimenting with different types of black magic. I started experimenting with the Ouija board, doing all these spells, hexes, you name it. I was just, and I definitely don't recommend anyone to do this without researching first, because I tell you, it got the negativity that happened around me. I was actually starting to see my animals get sick in front of me. I think I truly brought in something negative. I really do.
Right. Right.
Um, I was feeling, like really like depressed. And, I got to a low point that I've never gone before. And, somehow my spirit guides reached out to me and they were like, we'll help you get through this. So I met my spirit guides. I got out of that dark place, and then I started to realize that I had abilities that I didn't know I had. My mother said that she had abilities, but I didn't really, I said, hey, whatever. I really,
Right.
didn't really even bother. besides, growing up, if you say, you had a imaginary friend or something like that, people would think that you were nuts. So,
Yeah, they still do that.
exactly.
Right.
So then I start, getting in touch with my spirit guides, and I actually started drawing portraits as well, portraits of people. So I actually drew a portrait of my spirit guide, of the spirit guides. There's one spirit guide surrounding you, each. So I made portraits of them. So since then, I feel that I'm an empath and a clairvoyant. I don't, I know I have other abilities, but I'm just working with them day by day and trying to figure them out. So,
Right.
you know,
So yeah, well, it's a learning process like anything else. But
exactly.
at least now you're not towards the darker end of the spectrum.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
again, anybody that wants to do any type of, witchcraft, etc., please do your research, because just going in it full blown without even knowing what you're getting into, it's not good. It really isn't.
Right. That's where the trouble starts.
Yeah,
Because it's
exactly.
all just in fun, and then when they realize that they get into something they can't get out of.
Yeah.
It's I've heard that through many people, that you're opening doors that you don't understand, and then then that's when the trouble begins.
Exactly.
So at least it's good that you got out of that and
Yeah.
learned the correct way to practice what you practice.
Mm-hmm.
Now with what pretty much made you? I mean, I know you did this because of an ad, but what made you actually drive you to become an investigator and to get into the paranormal? Was it just the ad, or did you have an experience of your own?
So growing up, I had this imaginary friend. And, again, growing up, kids have imaginary friends all the time. It is what it is. But I had like really long conversations with this imaginary friend, every second of the day, even in my sleep, I would be having conversations. Don't know who it was. Um, but then as I got older, I started experiencing things like, mysterious things in the woods when I'll be hiking, or, just feelings, things like that, to the point that I would actually dream of something happening. And then not too long after that, it actually happened.
Right.
So, it's when you don't realize exactly like what it means or anything like that. I mean, it's pretty scary, especially when you're younger.
Oh, yeah. Because I used to do that a lot as a child. It would have premonition dreams.
Yep.
And of course, back then I didn't know that's what that was.
Yeah.
So then when you'd have, when you'd have the dream and maybe like a day or two later, it would come
Mm-hmm.
to fruition. You were like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you're reliving a whole entire day, and and you've already done, like I said, you've already done it. So you're reliving it.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's a little scary.
Yeah, it is. It's because some of them were actually very scary, and they actually came through. So it's an experience.
Right. Actually, I lucked out. Mine was usually, I would dream about a surprise test in school.
Ah,
And so I already knew all the answers.
that's funny. I
So
would
that
wish I had one of those dreams.
Oh, I used to have those all the time. So, the teacher would spring on a surprise test, and I'd be looking at it. I go, well, wait a minute. Didn't we already do this? And they're like, no. So
Oh
he's
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, score. Michael Spookfest says, Massachusetts, my home, done lots of investigations in the Bridgewater Triangle.
Oh, awesome. I have actually been wanted to go there, but I have not had a chance to go there yet. Sir Spoof, do you still live in Massachusetts? Because if so, I would love for us to get together to investigate. That would be awesome.
That would be great.
That would be awesome.
Actually, I'm trying to still set up a time to get him on the program so he could talk about a lot. He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be great if the two of you hooked up and you could see what you could come up together. Michael says, sorry, Susan, I can't co-host on the 5th family stuff.
That's perfectly fine, Michael.
Family first. That's okay, sweetie.
Exactly.
So no worries there.
No worries.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see here. Sir Spookfest says, I have some witches and wizards in my family tree. I was
Oh,
told I have Reiki. My
hmm,
aunt does auto writing and past life regression.
that's incredible.
Wow.
Incredible. Wow. That's incredible. I mean, to a certain point, also, I could, if someone speaks to me, I could definitely write down words and sentences in writing. But that's incredible. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
that's something. I always was
Yeah.
amazed by that.
Yeah,
He says he doesn't live
definitely.
there anymore. He lives in Virginia now, but
Oh, well,
he does make trips. So
yeah,
he said the next time he's up,
definitely,
that'd be great.
definitely. Yeah,
I'd touch base with her and you guys could get together, and that would be a great video to put together.
it would be. Yeah. And again, it's great because each person has their different way of investigating. So that would be awesome.
Right. So yeah, I think it makes it it's a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
When you're
Exactly.
doing your investigations, do you depend a lot on equipment and applications, or do you just go in with your own senses and just the basics, camera and recorder?
I like going in and getting to know the area or the location and just having a sense of actually what's going on around me. So I
Right.
may bring a voice recorder. Is that my side?
My hearing something.
On my side, it may be my side.
Yeah.
So I do bring a voice recorder, video camera, um, flashlight, the basics.
Right.
And I just, try to get a sense of what I'm experiencing. So
So, and you do get a whole team together, or do you just do you do a lot of investigating with Angelina?
we have been recently, at least we did Penhurst, and we did the Victory Theater in Holyoke, her hometown. So we have done 2 investigations. Hopefully we'll do a lot more in the future. But she uses a lot of equipment.
Right.
So
Oh yeah, everybody has their preference. So
yeah, exactly.
so you got to use what works for you.
Exactly.
Do you prefer to do famous haunts, or do you prefer to do lesser known areas? Because a lot of people, everybody goes to the same places.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer? I mean, how many times can you do the same places over and over? But some people prefer that.
Especially the most common areas are so expensive to investigate.
Yeah.
Unless you have a huge group of people, it's hard to come up with all the funding yourself. So I try to go to low profile locations, because honestly, if you think about it, if you go to a famous location every single day, it's like the spirits are like, are you kidding me? Another person's coming every day.
Right.
It's like, so I like going typically to like low locations, just so
Right.
I'll be more likely to connect with the spirit. That's how I
I think
look
that's
at
what
it.
people are. I think that people are going to start enjoying that more often.
Yep.
Because how many times can you go to like the Conjuring House and
Oh
Penhurst and
God,
all these
yeah.
places? I mean, I think they're beat to death. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
really looking forward to everybody starting to go to places even just in their local hometowns and sharing those experiences with us, because it's going to be something new.
Exactly. Exactly. That's how I feel as well.
And so yeah, so hopefully you guys can start doing that. What's he saying here? He's saying same, yeah, ghosts are not just at famous haunted spots.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Very
well,
true.
yeah, that's what it is. But we're seeing the same things over and over again. And I think the people that are doing these investigations are realizing that. They're thinking like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, how many times can we go here? How many times can we go there? I know everybody has a bucket list. That's
Yeah.
great, but I think we're coming to a turn in the road where people just want to start seeing everyday things that we don't have access to because we don't live there and we don't know
Exactly.
about it. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's Massachusetts is just a load of history there. So the places must be just right there at your feet where you could just
Yep.
pick a certain spot and go.
I honestly like going. As a cemetery not too far from me in Concord, Mass, and it's called Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. I just like going there. I just like, just it's very calm. So
Right.
typically that's my go-to when I just want to like have like calmness, is go to cemeteries.
Right.
To
Yeah, I
me,
do the same
cemeteries are
thing.
very peaceful.
They are,
So
yes. I do the same thing. Very, very
yeah,
peaceful.
yeah.
And if you're there and you pick up something, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last time, couple of times I was at the one of our locals and I picked up a couple of things. So I want to go back and just keep going back and see what else I can get
Mm-hmm.
in those areas. Because you probably heard me. It's known as the Outdoor Museum because there's so many famous people there. So and a lot of history. So I mean, you're going to pick up something eventually.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed. But
yeah, yeah.
that's what we would all hope for. Um,
Exactly.
do you have a favorite investigation?
Um, Do I have a favorite? Um, my very first investigation went to Hudson, Mass. It was a residential, but it used to be a funeral home. Can you hear me?
Yes, again.
Okay, sorry about that. I think I'm
That's
getting
okay.
feedback on my side. So here we go.
All
So,
right.
I walk in, and there was a family was there. And little did we know at the time that it used to be a funeral home. So we started investigating more into the investigation. I tripped over like this rug in the living room, and I said, "Oh my God, I tripped," So I like peeled the rug over, and it was actually like a door in the floor. So I opened up the door. Little did we know that it was a chute, and it was a chute for the bodies.
Oh,
There was
oh,
dead bodies there, and then it would
right.
come all the way down to the bottom where the basement was actually where they embalmed. Um, so we did the investigation upstairs. We went downstairs. It was completely black, and one of my co team members was like, "I hear something." So she turned around and she snapped this picture, and we got a phenomenal image, which I actually still have not showed anyone. I still have to watermark it, but it's actually an undertaker, and you could actually see the image of his head and his face and his two hands, like just like going like this with energy coming out. Um, and that was the very first investigation, so I was completely psyched. I was
Right.
psyched.
That's a great finding for the first time out.
It was. It
What was the
was.
history? I mean, what is the like? What did it date back to as far as history?
So I'm not 100% sure because it was a while ago, exactly when it got turned into um, when it was turned into a residential. I would say, let's see if I remember. I would say 2006. So it was probably 5 years before. So I would probably say 1990. It was turned into a residential. Before that, it was a funeral home. So it was pretty amazing, though, I have to say.
Oh, sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, pretty amazing.
Spookfest says, I would love to get to the Spider Gates. Believe that's more near Central Mass.
You know what? Spookfest, they no longer let people in that cemetery. So the history behind the cemetery is that it has bad energy in it, possibly like bad, malignant energy in there, possibly demons. Um, but it got to the point that people were breaking in all hours of the day, all hours of the night. So they actually closed it down so you can no longer get in there. But to top it all off, the grass has overgrown and everything, so you can't even see it. There's no landmarks or anything. But I was told, honestly, that it was all hyped up, that actually none of those stories were true. Whether or not I believe that, I don't know.
Right.
But you can't even find the cemetery now. It's like off the map.
Wow.
Yeah.
They really pretty
I
much
wanted to
wiped it
go
out.
there. Yeah, I honestly wanted to go there.
I would,
So
I would still go.
yeah,
I'd find a way to.
you have to know like the actual like location because they said that
Right.
it's very hard to find right now. So
Yeah, so you'd have to really dig into to do the research. Michael says
mhm.
he found out that one of his ancestors and his wife were accused of witchcraft during the Virginia trials.
Witchcraft. Yes, yes,
Aha.
yes. Yep. I
Oh
was just,
no.
well, I was mentioning to you earlier that I just came from Salem.
Yes, tell
Uh,
us all about that
so,
adventure.
so, it was, I wasn't expecting to go in, and actually feel the way I did. So, if you have any type of abilities, be sure if you do tend to visit Salem, you want to kind of keep your boundaries, your protection up. Because I tell you, the town itself has this, it's a little draining. And then once you go into certain shops, you end up like either a bad feeling or a good feeling. So the town in general could definitely uh, drain your energy a little bit. So and I wasn't prepared for that. I was just going right in. I was like, I'll just visit all the shops. And the
Right?
other funny thing is that, a couple of the shops, because I went with a very close friend of mine, um, and a couple of the shots we went into, the people there, I don't know whether or not they practice or what, but every time we kind of like slithered into the shop, they kind of like looked at us like we had two heads, and they were kind of even like hesitant to like take like a credit card or our money. So they may have sensed us coming in. It was really funny to see their reaction.
Right.
Um, but yeah, overall, it's Salem is a good place to visit, but you have to keep in mind it's not what everybody hypes it up to be. You do get the cute little town with the cobblestones. You do have the cute shops. There are a lot of historical buildings with plaques to say, um, when they were built, things like that. There's the witch trials. There's other history, but it's not as hyped up as people think it is.
Right. Yeah, because I've heard that from several people that they go there, I think, expecting, I don't know, something spectacular, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just basic history of what happened during that period.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and especially when they go into the museum, I think they were expecting a lot more.
Yep.
And all it was is just they said that they were being told the story that they already knew before they went in there.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, the museums are actually closed. They're only open a certain amount of days. I think it's Thursday through Sunday. So we couldn't go in the Witch Museum. We couldn't go in the Peabody Museum. And there were a few other places that we couldn't go. So if anybody is going to visit that area, go like either on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But during the week, they typically are closed. Also, if you really want to go in October, feel free. But I tell you, you won't be able to even move around in that city
You're
in
right.
October. It's crazy. Crazy.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, because that's the season, so that's
Yep.
where everybody. Oh, let's go here.
Yep. It's crazy. I tell
So
you.
yeah, that's and they're only well, and that's when those people make their money,
Yep.
because that's the tourist season for them, and so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's I wouldn't go that time of year either,
Yeah. I mean,
or I would
Salem's,
wait. I would either go earlier in the month or
yep,
wait until
like I did.
November.
Yeah. Salem, I
Yeah.
can visit at any time because it's only like an hour and a half away from me. But I tell you, my eyes really opened when I actually heard about the witch trials, the actual history. Um, and I'm actually going to do some more research. And my friend that went with me, her and I are going to probably do a podcast in November to share with everybody and more detailed about our what we encountered and what our feelings are, and more of the history and how we actually felt. So we're going to probably do a podcast, probably in November, going more into
Right.
detailing. But to be honest with you, so 19 people were accused. 14 of them were hung. 5 others died in custody. When I'm going in the back of my mind, hearing about each of the stories of each of these people, I'm saying to myself, what if these people that everybody called as witch, what if they were just like homeopathic, like, like creating herbs or things like that to cure people? What if they
Right.
actually were not witches, but because no one did it back then, they were associating them with it, witches.
Right. And I have
You
heard
start to
stories of
wonder.
that.
You start to wonder.
Yeah, I've heard stories that were like midwives, any woman that was in kind of like a medical field. And like you said, making remedies for illnesses, they all, they thought they were conjuring.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easier to blame them. They knew what was going on. It's just that they, went by somebody's one lame claim. And yes, you're right, Spookfest. One was crushed with rocks.
Yep. Giles
Just,
Corey.
oh, just awful. Just awful.
Yeah, it took 3 days.
Ugh.
Each day he was crushed by more and more rocks because he wouldn't, he would keep on saying more rocks, like he wouldn't talk at all. And on the 3rd day, he eventually passed away.
Even imagine.
Yeah,
Just and he was and well, he was an innocent man. I mean, come on. That they were
yeah.
all innocent. And the problem is that and then I've also, read some things about that. Uh if I remember correctly, I think I have an article. Well, I do have an article about witches and stuff in the upcoming magazine I'm doing. And something about I read something about the when the government finally figured out that they had pretty much effed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of like swept it all under the rug. They made it disappear really quick because they didn't, they knew they screwed up. Hi, Carla, welcome. So, and of course, back then it was easy to cover that stuff up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, they would have got tore up for for what they did, and
Yeah,
I just couldn't. You can't fathom that. We have our mistakes in the judicial system today as well, but not like that. It's just like,
yeah.
wow.
It's crazy, and I honestly believe that's what they did. If somebody had an ailment, they tried to use remedies to cure them, and because of that, they were considered a witch.
Yep.
It's one of those things. It's really sad, especially we took a tour at the end of the night. So we actually toured the monuments of the all 19, and it's sad because I didn't realize it, but there's a certain area where the cemetery is, Charter Street Cemetery. That's what it is. So the monuments are like in a U position right next to the cemetery. And if you look at the ground before you see those monuments, each cobblestone has the exact words that each one said before they were hung.
Oh my goodness.
Which was interesting. I wasn't able to take pictures of those, but it's sad. Each of them like said 3 words, 4 words before they were hung, and they're all like on the cobblestone engraved,
Right.
which is
Yes,
sad.
it is sad. Yes, Michael. Yeah, epilepsy was also a sign of demonic possession back in the day. That's because they didn't understand it. I mean, the ignorance was rampant back in those days. So if they didn't understand it, it was witchcraft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Let's see here.
exactly. I mean, all the elements that we have now, could have possibly been people that were sick that had signs and symptoms, but
Right.
said they were witchcraft.
Something else was going on. And then you had these women that were putting, I mean, they didn't have medicines back then.
Yeah.
And those were the women that did it, and so, and of course they're the first ones that are going to be attacked, when somebody just loses their cool. And
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it goes. Let's see. Michael, let's see. Spook says, "Oh, Michael, that is cool. I know you have the last one to be debunked in Virginia, the Witch of Pogo. She actually lived through. She actually lived, though. They even put a chain with a 15-pound Bible around her neck. Oh, wow.
Oh wow. That's. Do you know it took? I think it took Bridget Bishop. I think it took her actually 3 days also to actually pass. And the messed up thing is when they hung them back then, what they did is they actually put the rope and they attached it to a tree and someone would be on the other end. But
Right.
it had like two, maybe very little, they could actually see the ground while they're being hung. So of course the reaction is to try to like reach to the ground.
Right.
But each time that they try to do that, it would just pull and pull more on the rope.
Tighter.
Yeah, it was sad to hear all that.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it was sad.
It's holy crap. Yeah, it's well, you have very dark history all over the world.
Yeah, yeah. And then the
Um,
question came about what exactly why do you consider yourself a witch? Is witch the term that you do castings and spells, or is witch more like you do herbal remedies and things like that? Are you classified as a witch doing that as well?
right.
So
Oh, yeah. Do you classify yourself as a witch?
to a certain point, I honestly do, because I do a lot of herbal remedies. I do like perfumes, things like that, and I'm going to get more back into it now. But I don't do any like hexes or
Right.
curses or anything like that.
Just all, yeah,
So,
natural remedies. Yeah,
mhm,
because I have an aunt who does that. She makes all natural based remedies, and I believe
mhm,
it would started off her doing it is because they're German Shepherd breeders, and
mhm,
when they had a dog that was actually poisoned by one of the veterinarians, that was when she started doing natural feeding and raw feeding for her dogs. And then she slowly moved it over into their diets where it's more natural, more organic, and going out, in the yard and looking for all the old herbs and all of that stuff and making these things. And she says it's amazing that the stuff really works.
mhm.
And it's I believe, just an art that we've lost, because you always hear everybody, whatever that comes out into the world that is natural bacteria or illness, the planet has a cure for it. And we've lost a lot of that.
Mhm. Exactly. And it was interesting also is the Ouija board, for example. The original one was by Parker Brothers. And if you look at the original Ouija board, when there was an actual picture of it, and it's actually formatted different than it is now. I mean, the numbers and the letters are kind of like in a kind of like in a rainbow horizon
Right.
thing, and then the moon and the sun were in different ends, and then the yes, no, and maybe were in different locations.
Right.
Now
Welcome
people are,
Friday.
I mean, now people are saying that possibly, um, well, the creator of the Ouija board, how did he think of that idea? Did it come to him in the middle of the night? Did something tell him to create that Ouija board? Was it someone from another part of the world, or an alien unknown, or another force that actually made him create the Ouija board? And if that's the case, did it open up a whole new portal? So,
Oh, well, that's a good question. A good
yeah.
question is when there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other people that, work with it daily and have true belief in it. Um, what do we got here? The chat there. I could probably look back if your ancestors were on the accused witch list, Michael, for Virginia.
Hmm.
Ah, yeah. Well, yeah, if they're on the list, I mean, or if they were accused of it in the history,
Mm-hmm.
they should be on the list.
Yeah.
Um, which is kind of, you know, when you do that kind of stuff, then it's kind of really interesting because I'm like,
Mhm.
you look up family ancestry and you're thinking, oh, wow, I had a relative that did this or did that, or, you know,
Mhm.
and, you know, back in that day, witchcraft was a big deal. So, yeah, if they're on the list, then they're in it's written down somewhere.
Mhm.
Most definitely. Have you ever been
Definitely.
to did an investigation that you found very disturbing?
More or less emotional draining than disturbing. I actually have not come across any demons, anything evil. I haven't come across any of that. So I still need to experience, if they do exist, I still need to experience them. Although
Right.
I'm not wishing it upon me, but you know. Um, so when I go into a location, I get a sense of, you know, if there's spirits or not spirits in the room. Unfortunately for me, is I actually could feel what the spirit went through and how it passed. For example, we went into a residential house. Make long story short, it used to be a police station. I walked in the front doorway, and I actually felt like somebody was like taking like a really bad punch in my chest. Like I got really tight. I kind of to the point that I keeled over a little bit. And it lasted about 3 or 4 minutes or so. Once I got off of the steps, it went away.
Right.
Um, then I proceeded to go into another room, and then I started bawling my eyes out. And they're like, "Oh my God, what's happening to you?" And I said, I'm feeling really sad." And I was like crying, bawling my eyes out. And finally, you know, the I finally knew what was happening to me with both cases. With the stairway incident, it's because a police officer got shot right there and died. For the one in the other room, it's because the elderly man passed, and he was incredibly sad because he couldn't find his beloved wife in the afterlife, and he was still looking for her. So those are the two experiences that I've come into that was the most emotional to me.
Right.
Um, and then again, people was like, have you had yourself checked? Do you know if anything's going on with you medically? And I did. Everything's fine. My heart's doing well. Everything is the way it's supposed to be working, mind you.
Right.
So, it's I'm good, but those were the two emotional things that I went through.
Right. Carla says, yeah, you have a lot of empathy. Yes, I think everybody has a certain degree of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. You know, you hear people, well, I don't believe in empaths or sensitives. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a certain level of that
Mm-hmm.
in them, and more than others. More are going to pick up some more or less. Um, and it's just, of course, people that are going to be, skeptics on that kind of thing. Well, it's because
Mm-hmm.
they don't realize that they are. And,
Exactly.
I try to explain that to people. If you're just like you're in a crowded room, if empaths, if they're in a crowded room, or, or even, you go to the mall and it's too overwhelming
It is.
because you're absorbing all of that, emotion and energy from the people around you. So most people that are empathic don't go to places like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to malls, you don't go to big parties, it has to be an open area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, like me, I can't go to the grocery store if it's busy.
No, I can't either. I cannot
Oh,
go to antique stores as well.
right, nothing that's busy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hi, Julie, welcome. And it's terrible because then and my reaction to that is I get nasty.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get, and I can feel it coming, and I always say to my husband, "It's time to go. Too many people."
Mm-hmm.
It's an overload, and so same thing on the other end of the spectrum, where you're with people, and you hear somebody's story or sadness that's going on, and you feel it way deep down in your soul,
Mm-hmm.
kind of sadness for these people, and it's different than just, oh, gee, I'm really sorry. No, you're actually bothered by it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Michael says, I hate grocery shopping, not because of the people, because of the prices. Oh, amen to that. I know.
Exactly.
We know that. But yeah, see, Carla says she gets anxiety at the checkout.
Yep.
Is that because of the prices, or there's just too much overload of people?
Both.
Yeah, same here. It's but that's what I think people, that's what they don't understand it. So when you know, you guys, if you don't understand or you question it, get online, look it up, and then you'll read what the guidelines and the, you know, the documentation on people that are empathic. You'll see, and then when you start reading, you're thinking like, oh wow, well I do that, or oh hey, I do that to a certain degree. So I truly believe that everybody has a little bit of it in them, and
Exactly.
you know, and it's she says usually something gets scanned wrong or whatnot. Hi Bill, welcome. Great interview the other night, Bill, with Boo Productions. You guys go check that out. Him and Jeff did a great job. Yeah, they just I always check the scanner because you know how it is. Sometimes I like to do the double scan. Of course, they don't have that anymore. Around here, you got to do everything yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. We
Which is
still have,
annoying.
I mean, we still have tellers where I am.
Very rare. It's very rare that we have them. They replaced
Yeah.
everybody with the machines.
Oh Lord.
And it's just, and then they don't even give you bags anymore either. My father went shopping today, come home bitching. No bags. I'm like, oh, you're supposed to just, you know, put it all in your pockets and walk out the door.
Yep.
Michael says, he says, I love going to estate sales because of picking up on a vibe. It's probably the people that pass and are saying, hey, they're selling all my stuff.
Yeah, probably. I don't go to antique stores because I just don't like feeling all the energy around me. Don't like it.
It's yeah, that doesn't really bother me.
Really?
It's the overwhelming feeling from the living, not from the past. Oh, geez. Yeah, no, I love it. Like I said, but I can't be busy. I love antique stores and stuff like that. I can't be busy. I'm more comfortable outside, in the woods, you know, open field somewhere. You know, it's just, it's more calming.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I find myself though, even in cemeteries, I get like, you know, happiness, sadness.
And like you said, calming. You feel your peace there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think that's weird too, because they'll say, well, what the hell are you doing there? And well, you go and you sit for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to it than just, you know, burial spots. It's very very calming. Let's see. Spookfest says my wife's ancestors got arrested by my relatives, like William Bradford. Not sure if it was for witchcraft or what, but we found out not long ago. So yeah, it's amazing what you yes, Bill, especially Forest Hill. That's where I'm yeah, Forest Hill is very calming.
Yeah.
The trees are ancient and they have water. They have 3 ponds. It is very, very peaceful.
Pretty.
And it dates back, it was established in 1850. So there's a lot of history, and I love going there. And little by little, you know, I'm picking up things as I go along, so it's great. Hopefully, I can get it all together and just put it out on a video for everybody. I mean, it's my plan, but you know, me and editing blows, so it's whatever
it takes a very long time. It does.
And Bill breaks them on me all the time. Oh, you need to. Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna put it all together and with the voiceover and put it out there. And it's just the way it's going to work. Let's see. Friday says, making it just listening while going through a few old documents. Yeah, the history, and that's what it is. Cemeteries are history, guys. And a lot of people don't look at it that way, but it is. And I find it interesting. My husband finds it interesting when you go there, see in the older section and you see, oh, wow, this person did this because they put everything on the stones. So we'll look it up. We'll write it down and then we'll go home and look it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out, oh, wow, this person did something great. So it's great to be able to do all of that.
Exactly. It is.
And a lot of people think it's weird, but that's okay. Everybody's got to be a little weird at some stuff.
I know. Nobody's.
Oh, gee. What actually? Now we want to know what is on your bucket list. Is it famous places, local places?
So what I would honestly love to do is take my podcast on the road. Visit abandoned places. I absolutely love historical ships. So I would love to visit historical ships as well to see if there's any history. Of course, investigating as well.
Right.
But that's my dream, to take my podcast on the road. And I actually want to do my podcast live streaming from the locations like the Lizzie Borden house, places like that. Believe it or not, I have not been to the Lizzie Borden house yet, and I plan to. So there's a lot of locations. I want to go to Ireland to see all the beautiful castles. So there's my bucket list is extremely, extremely long.
And of course, probably most of it's across the pond, right?
Yeah.
Because exactly. That's where I would love to go to. Yeah.
I mean, we have locations here as well that I haven't investigated.
Right.
Like the Bridgewater Triangle. Like there's places around in Massachusetts. Whether or not I want to go to the Conjuring House or not, I don't know.
I'd stay away from that hot mess right now.
But there's definitely places around me that I could still investigate as well. So,
right. Actually, tell us. I've only heard tidbits about that Bridgewater Triangle. Fill us in on what that is all about.
What I have known, maybe Spookfest could chime in as well, because I need to do some more research about it, but I think it's like what do they call it? It's where two places join as one, and that in the middle is what do I say, has a lot of activity. It's like I can't describe it, but it's supposed to have a lot electronic field frequency in a certain area. And I think also there's been stories that possibly there is a certain type of Bigfoot there. Aliens that historically may have landed there. So it does have a lot of stories to it. So like Spookfest says, cryptid encounters. So.
Yep. Seen spook lights, shadow people, maybe cryptids encounters. It's all on the Bridgewater Triangle. Okay. So what I understand, so this area comes together, and the incidences are in a triangle-shaped area of
basically. So
okay, so kind of like the Bermuda Triangle.
Kind of, yes, kind of, sort of.
So yeah, because like I said, I've heard tidbits. I haven't had a chance to look that one up. But I've heard people mention it before, so I was just curious on what it was. Giant black dog snakes. Oh,
yeah. There's a lot of stories about what is actually going on there. So, yeah, I'll be curious to investigate there to see myself.
And is that far from where you are?
Bridgewater is probably about 40 minutes from where I am.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not bad at all. I
Grab your
just don't know
coffee
if I
and
want to go
go.
by myself, but
Oh, yeah. No, I wouldn't do that.
yeah, or at least during the day. I don't know. I have to see.
I wouldn't want to do that. No coffee, Bill. What the heck? Bill must be ill. No coffee. Yeah, I wouldn't, something like that. I wouldn't go alone.
Yeah,
Grab a few
definitely.
friends and jump in the car. Hi, Jeffrey. Gotta go out. It's interesting. Thanks. Bye. Oh, okay. He popped in. He's gonna leave. Thanks for hanging. Excuse me. I'm choking myself to death.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
thanks.
It's it's hard now that I'm trying to find new members to come on board. But right now it's just myself, so I have to definitely feel comfortable going to an investigation by myself.
Right.
So,
Yes. Yeah. I never go anywhere by myself.
mhm,
If my sister and brother-in-law can't make it, then my husband's with me.
okay,
Because you
that's
never
good.
know what you're gonna run into.
You
Especially
never
I
know.
hang out, in the back dirt roads of nowhere, and you find a cemetery. That's my thing, and you
Hmm.
never know who's hanging out in the trees. So it's yeah. So I don't go by myself. Let's see. At the towns of Freetown. Oh, I don't even know how to say that, guys.
We know both
Everton,
Abington. Yeah.
make the triangle. So don't go in the hammock swamp. Or I'm totally screwing this whole thing up. Swamp alone. I do, but I grew up in the woods. Okay, so yeah, he's telling you don't go there by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty
Basically. Yeah.
much. And he's explaining the towns that are around that make up the
Yep.
triangle.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah. So that explains it. Yeah, I'll have to look it up and get in more detail and see what everybody's talking about because it's
Hmm.
definitely interesting. And if all that's going around, and that would be great. So yeah, if he ever comes back to visit and touch base with you, you guys could go together. That would be
Absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, I don't know if Angelina is lurking or not, but what's it like to investigate with Miss Angelina and her team?
Oh, you know what? Christina, I actually met Justin. We were actually on a podcast together. He's an amazing person. My first time meeting Justin, everybody was saying, "Who is this mysterious guy that's on their team that nobody actually knew about?" But I tell you, he reminds me, and Angelina, said this as well. He does remind me of Kenny Biddle in a way, because he's very
Right,
scientific. Um, but Angelina Christina is incredible to investigate with because Angelina is, wants to be sure that, whether or not it's paranormal, not paranormal. And of course, she's a debunker as well. So she does some things that, like, I learn about and she learns from me. So we all have our own kind of different nick to work together.
right,
But she's an incredible person to investigate with as far as Christina is as well. My first investigation with her was Panhurst. And we had a great time. I mean, we were like, she was, chased by bats, but it was a great time. She didn't
right,
know. It was actually our first time meeting each other. So she didn't realize the abilities that I had, and I kind of never saw her debunking things before. So, and she
right,
typically does things in three. Like if there's like the REM part goes off, we want to make sure there's no like anything like blocking it, whether or not our cell phones are close by, walkie talkies. And she typically does things in three, like she asks the same question three times to make
right,
sure that it's consistent.
right.
So,
So,
once she recovers, we are going to investigate a lot more together.
oh, that'll be great. Yeah, I mean, you
Hmm.
guys are close by, so it would make sense that you guys would do more outings together. Okay, now just to poke fun at her, did she scream as she was running? Because we know Angelina's tough, but she is afraid of bats.
it wasn't that she was afraid of bats. I think that she kind of, so I was probably the cause of it in the beginning, because I said, oh, that bat went into the room, you're nowhere near the bats. So as she got closer to the bat, she didn't realize the bat was actually in the cording staring at her and wasn't in the room. So she wasn't expecting it, so that's why we all ran.
Right.
But I mean, we all do like bats.
Right. You just don't want them on you.
Yeah. I mean, typically we don't run. So
Because to be honest, they are really cute when you get a good look at them.
I love bats.
Yeah, I don't want them on
do.
me.
Yeah, yeah. They all awfully cute.
And you get a bad. A lot of people say that if they get caught in your hair, you're screwed because they get tangled up.
And there's the rabies thing. Everybody's so concerned about the rabies, and but I mean, it was a great time. So.
And she hasn't commented, so maybe she's not lurking. She must be taking a nap.
I mean, she may be watching.
I figured I'd throw it out there just to get a response from her. So.
Yeah. I mean, she may be watching, but she may not just be commenting.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it was a great time now. Yeah. It was
that's great. So, and of course you guys are going to have Justin along as well if you do a collab. I did enjoy the interview you did. You had him on with you, so it's
so we originally was going to have our guest Jill on, and she was having technical issues. She couldn't join us, so I feel I was put through the ringer, because I was not expecting for him to ask me the questions he was asking, because I didn't know him. I didn't know how he asked questions. Angelina warned me, but I was like, yeah, I can handle it. Yeah, I'll be okay.
Right.
But I tell you, some of those questions, he kind of stumped me a little bit on before I answered.
They were good questions.
They were very good questions.
They were good questions.
Hopefully he'll be coming to Boston once he graduates from school. So, and
I like it because he takes it serious. Like you said, he's a I want to say kind of like a toned down version of Kenny Biddle.
Yeah.
Kenny is severe. I know I love him, but he is severe. There is no ifs, ands, or buts with Kenny. If you can't prove and have exact documentation, then he's just not going to go for it. So it's
yep, exactly.
Where at least with Justin, I noticed that yes, he has that same mindset, but also he's also had his own experiences, so that the door is open for him. Actually, I was saying that earlier on a program where they were talking about Kenny, and I said, and again, I love him to death. I think he's a great guy, but I don't think that anything is going to convince him, because he's going to find a way to make it scientific and to debunk it,
because he never had any experiences himself.
Right. It would have to be something really like knock you out of your shorts.
Yep.
Type of experience for him to actually believe any of it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's him, and he's still open for it. It's just he's not going to believe anything or anybody until the proof is there, written in stone. He is strictly science, and that's all right.
I know.
That is all right. Now everybody has their reason, and I'd like to know what your reason is. What keeps you doing this?
I actually want to know if there's an afterlife. What happens when you pass? Do you get reincarnated? Do you go into the big plane of energy? Do you have a choice of what to be reincarnated into? Do you just, do you still just hang around, in like a silhouette, like watching everything like a movie? I mean, and I'm very curious about all those. That's why, I want to investigate more. I want to develop my abilities more. And I just want to see, what's really out there. I really do.
Right. After we pass, what do you think happens to us?
You know, it's hard because I've actually had a couple of friends that said there is, you know, there is this beautiful field of flowers, you know, there's a tunnel. You know, you normally, you know, a creator or someone speaks to you there, whether or not it's God, a higher being. Um, but then, you know, like they had very, well, they died for a couple of minutes and then they were brought back. And that voice told them that it wasn't their time and they came back into their body. You know, another person told me that basically we're energy that goes up, you know, into the realm, and we just, you know, we fall into the earth. I think we get reincarnated into another life, you know. And the reason why I'm saying this is that, you know, a medium that actually does my readings, because for the life of me, I cannot read myself. I do, you know, the tarot cards for myself, but I cannot, you know, read myself for the life of me. I could just pick up a card and it says, you know, you need to do this today or get a certain field. But anyway, so she told me that my past life was in the Victoria era, um, in the kind of like the Celtic, kind of like medieval Victorian area. I don't know what I was doing, but she said this is like my second or third life that I've had. So I truly do believe you get reincarnated, and I guess I want to believe it.
Right?
What do you think?
Yeah, I do believe that we transform into a higher form of energy, because I mean that's what we are. You know, our I believe our spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it, and what makes the body work is
Mm-hmm.
energy. And I believe that this is just our stepping stone to a higher plane of existence. And what that existence is, we won't know until we get there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe it's an energy source or form. Um, and I think that's why people that have already passed are able to come back and visit here, because they are energy. You can't stop energy from doing anything. It's going to go where
Mm-hmm.
it wants.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is still, you know, we still have, you know, intelligence and a desire to see family, friends, or whatever, just come and see the beautiful planet that, you know, that we lived on. I do believe that they can come and go as they please. And then there's some that might be trapped here because of maybe a violent end, or things that aren't completed in their eyes, and some that don't even know that they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like being stuck until it, you know, something is pointed out to them or taken care of. Um, we have a couple of places around here that are legend, because it's told it was violent end and the person is still here. And I believe it's because she's looking for justice, because she was, you know, wrongfully ended,
That's
and it was
sad.
violent, and so it's
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what she's looking for is justice.
That's really
And until that,
sad.
yeah, and until I think, and she's here, I think, until justice is done.
Yeah, yeah. Or like Gettysburg, it's kind of like a movie for them. They
Yep.
reenact the same thing all the time, whether or not they know they've passed or not. I'm not, you know, it's unclear.
Right. Well, and then my next question is for you. Do you think that a spirit has a time limit here in this plane? Do they, or do you think that, you know, they just come and go and whatever, and there's no time limit?
You know what? And funny that you asked this question, because I had a very close friend of mine, a coworker that passed away from cancer, and it was always put in my head, it's the 5 year rule. And I don't know why, the 3 to 5 year actually rule. They go, they need to take care of what they need to do, and then they'll come back to visit 3 to 5 years later. And to be honest with you, a couple of times that I found that being true. You know, it's And I don't know whether or not, I can't explain it, but I find that it takes a while for them to return back to us to let them be known. But yeah, I've had a couple of experiences and it's been that period of time. I don't
Right.
know why, but
Right. Well, I mean, because I've heard other people say, well, they've gone to places year after year after year for 10, 20 years, keep
mhm,
revisiting. And, their data has been less and less as the years have gone on.
mhm,
And it could be, well, maybe they're just not there at that time, or, you know what, they're not there to perform for us.
mhm.
So if you're going into a place that that have had incidences and people have picked up data from that place, you just maybe it's just like you said, it's a span between so many years that it's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
And then you're going to go back one time, and then it's going to explode.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's sad, and maybe they stay around because they feel that their loved ones need protection, and
right.
that's the reason why they don't move on. Is they feel that they need to be there for them.
Right. Friday says, according to most NDE explains, we choose to come here to gain experience and to help others learn. And once we go back and remember who we are, we sometimes plan another life and come back.
Hmm.
Interesting. That it
Yeah.
is interesting. And like you said, when you do, people have the near death experience. They're not all the same.
Hmm.
A lot of them will say, well, yes, you see the bright lights,
Hmm.
and you might see, somebody coming towards you. But it might not always be family. Like I said, it could be, a lot of people say it's the creator coming to you, explaining, listen, this is not your time. You
Hmm.
have more to do. You have to go back. I've heard a lot of people say that. Um, I think, yeah, it depends on who you are and what the plan is for you. But as far as I believe, yeah, we're ever energy,
Hmm.
and that energy comes and goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly. Yeah. And if I do be reincarnated and come back, I want it to be a good one.
right. Well, I always tease my husband. I'd say, if reincarnation is real, I
Hmm.
says, because when he was a boy, he used to shoot at birds with pellet gun. I says, when you thought that was funny as a kid, they're gonna make you come back as one of those birds, and then there's gonna be another little shit that's gonna take shots at you. Thanks, Bill, for
Yeah. Yeah.
hanging out. Have happy editing. Yeah. So it's I told him, I said, remember, payback's a bitch.
Hmm.
So whatever you think is funny now, remember, if reincarnation happens, you're
I know,
you're in
huh?
deep. He's in
That would
deep.
be funny. I would definitely want to come back as another person. I don't think I want to come back as an animal. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really thought about that. If I would, um, it would be interesting actually to come back.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
as like a bird or something like that. But
Hmm.
their lifespan is so short,
I know it is
and the
short.
hardships that they've got to go through. Oh, good lord! I couldn't imagine having to hang out in a tree and it's like 10 below zero. So Michael says, I almost died as a toddler due to a heart murmur. So I believe in life after death and reincarnation.
Hmm.
So yeah, a lot of people believe in reincarnation.
Hmm.
Friday says they explain we are part of a source, aka God. All of us are connected, and outside of space time, we are everywhere He can be. All questions are answered. All is known. Yes, that's what we are told.
Hmm.
That once we do transition, that all of our answers or all of our questions will be answered. Um, because you hear a lot of people say that, well, why does this happen, or why does that happen, or you know, uh, for one thing, everyone forgets we have free will
Hmm.
as a human being. So you have free will to do what you want, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And you'll find out when you transition if it was good, bad, or indifferent. So it's
Exactly. It's that.
uh, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And everybody, like I said, has their own beliefs.
Exactly.
So whether you believe what we're saying or we don't say, and I'm always open to everybody's, interpretation of what we are, what we become. Um, who knows? Maybe we transition to those little green men that they see in the UFOs. You don't know. You don't know. There's.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? So I actually have a question for you, though.
All right.
So the question that was actually given to me is: do you firmly believe that if you're a bad person while you're living, do you get do do you get forgiven when once you die, or are you that same person once you pass?
Well, according to my own religious beliefs, I believe if you are truly repentant of what you've done, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean blood pure repentant, you are forgiven. So, you could be the worst creature on the planet. And if you believe, in God or whatever you want to call him, her, whatever, however you see it, because my belief is that everybody has a name for the creator.
Mm-hmm.
We'll use the word creator. So it's either God, goddess, Buddha, whatever. Allah
Mm-hmm.
is just, the Arabic word for God. So uh, it, it, no matter what you're believing in or what you are worshiping, you got to remember that one creator created all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So just like I explain that to because I've done a lot of studies on this, and of course, guys, I am I'm a minister too. So um Earl, yeah, or multiple gods, it all depends, but it's all basically the same, no matter what. This is what I believe. No matter what you are referencing to that creator as, there is only one, and that creator made everything. So
Mm-hmm.
the planet, the universe, the solar system, all of it. It was made by one creator. And of course, a lot of people are going to say, well, you're full of shit because it's, that's the religious aspect, not the science. Well, even in the science, stuff just doesn't happen because it happens. Something created that incident for that to happen. So who did? Where did it come from?
Yep.
Just like the Big Bang theory. Well, okay, what created that Big Bang? Who created that? So like I said, you have to be open to uh Earl says, I agree with you totally. Thank you, Earl. Yeah, and it's what it is. You have to, I think it's very smart for other people to, even if that's not your thing, even like you say, if you don't believe in, Christianity, Judaism, all of that, even if you're not believing in it and in any other denomination or Wiccan or whatever, still take time to go through it,
Mm-hmm.
because then you're going to realize the similarities that are in each one. There is a similarity in each one. So I always say there's a little bit of truth in every religious teaching. And, when you open that door and you look at that, and I discovered this a long time ago from a program that I used to watch on the Catholic network. And it was a monk, an old monk. And he said that he would visit all different kinds of churches, all religions, all backgrounds. And he says, that's how you learn truth.
Hmm.
Don't sit there and be spoon fed what your specific religion or belief is telling you, because they're not all going by the exact word that was written. They're taking parts of it and adding their own twist to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why I always encourage. I'm not saying that, it's a bad thing. Go to church. Church is good for those who need to go, need that fellowship. It's wonderful. But don't let them block your mind to what's out there. truth is out there. You just have to go through all of that, and then you'll see. It does blow your mind.
Mm-hmm.
The man was right. You have to go, even if you sit in the background of somebody else's church, or you read the other books that are out there and all of the transcripts and scrolls and all. I mean, the world is at our fingertips, and if you can just research it, read some of it, you'll see that, well, wow, that's pretty much what we believe. They're just calling it something different, or they're just doing it in a different way. And I think it was done that way purposely. Let's see. Let's catch up on what somebody has to say here. Giselle. Hi, Giselle. Welcome, welcome. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. It's pretty universal. Just basic kindness. Amen. Exactly right. Exactly right. Always remember to treat everybody that you want to be treated. Nobody wants to be shit on.
Exactly.
So why would you do that to somebody else? It's basic common sense. So it's, I think that opens up the door. When you are too strict in your belief system, and no, I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Why? Because if they're following the same book that you're reading the Bible. I don't have this turned into a religious thing, guys. But if you're reading the same Bible, it's the same teachings.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the problem? It's because it gets changed by whoever's teaching it. I could read a passage in a book. You could read the passage, and we would both come up with a different meaning or ending to it, because it's how you think, or how you've been taught to think. I mean, take it for a grain of salt, guys. You can tell me to shut up, one or the other. But the future plans for Miss Lady Victoria Darkwood.
Go out there, investigate more, travel, and just keep on trucking. Just I'm going to start having my podcast every other Saturday at 3 p.m. Yeah, and just continue on doing what I do.
Right. And you're still in the search for new team members, which is great.
I am. The other thing that I would like to build is a community. So a friend of mine, Pam Harris, that actually it's not really she's a teacher to me, but we're good friends as well. We were thinking about creating a community for people like us that doesn't get a lot of support, ones that have abilities that doesn't get a lot of support from their family, from their friends, and feel that they're alone. So we're actually thinking about creating a community, maybe through Zoom, through StreamYard, just chat with each other once a month, just to give each other support.
That's wonderful. I want to get the word out there.
Yeah, so we do want to start that. So if anybody is interested that's watching, just reach out to me on my email that's on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I think it would be great, because myself, it's good if you get support from other people. It really is.
Right. Well, because there's a negative label that goes with anybody that may, I admit it, there are a lot of fakers out there. There are. We've seen them, they're BS. But I do believe that there are people that do have gifts. And I think it's important that people get educated in that. Nowadays say you do magic potions and poof, you got this coming on. That's not what I'm talking about. It's, people do see things, and it could be in different ways.
And I myself, I didn't have the support that I should have gotten, because my family didn't really believe in it.
Well, because you're afraid to say something, and then you get ridiculed, and you say, well, gee, this happened to me. What does this mean? Oh, it's shit. Don't talk about that. It's because they don't understand.
So So it would be great if I could start the support group, and it could be as little as just through StreamYard or through Zoom once a month, just chatting amongst each other, you know, just to
Right.
give each other support. So I'm planning to roll that out, possibly starting in October, maybe November.
Oh, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, guys, if you're interested in becoming a part of that, just contact her. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I have her link in the description, and Michael's been putting it out there so that you guys could catch up and with her and discuss those things.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of people that might not even know that they have some kind of a
absolutely.
gift. They
Yep.
just think, maybe, well, I'm weird, you know? You never know. As Earl said, it's good to keep an open mind. I have always had an open mind to things. Yeah, you have to, because then you can't learn. When
Exactly.
you've already shut down and said, no, this is the way this is, and I think you're full of crap, right there, you're shut down. The world isn't that way. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
not just, if they're not just black and white, there is an in between, and
Mm-hmm.
the in between is what's, cast off to the side. Earl said he is interested. That's wonderful.
Oh, Giselle,
Uh,
you're in Massachusetts.
there you go.
Had no
What is
idea.
out? Well, she just said, go ahead. She wants to start up a group. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Giselle, I want to start up a group because myself, I have empath and clairvoyant. But growing up, I never had the support about my abilities or had the guidance on how to handle my abilities. So I want to start up a group with a good friend of mine, Pam, and myself, and actually we may bring someone else, Sean, which is another good friend of ours. I want to get together this group maybe once a month between, whoever is interested through Zoom, through StreamYard. It's not going to be live. It's just going to be between us, just so we could talk to each other about, our experiences and to get the support that everybody needs. Because if you don't have the support, like Laura said, you basically, you don't believe in yourself and you do shut down. So it's important to get the support, because I'm a true supporter myself. I support anyone that I can, whether or not you have a podcast, whether or not you have a paranormal group, I am a true supporter. So it would be great to get this group up and running.
Right. And then just the education. Like I said, there's people out there
Yeah.
that things are happening to, and they have nobody to go to.
Yeah.
So what better place to go than to a group of people that have had similar experiences?
Mm-hmm.
And then guys can compare notes and just, that's the way we learn, the education. You educate each other and support each other. So I hope that helped you out, Giselle. No, you're not late. That's okay. Giselle's a sweetie. So it's a good way to learn about things that people don't understand
Yeah.
or choose not to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're in the negative. Oh, I don't believe it. Yeah, because and that's the thing. It's another thing. Just like in the paranormal community, just like in any of our communities on YouTube, the fakers ruin it for the rest. When
Mm-hmm.
you've got people that
Exactly.
have real things that are happening, you got the other ones that are coming, well, we're not going to believe you because this one has this, oh, they've had 10, 12, findings during an investigation, and it's
Mm-hmm.
every week. It doesn't happen that way. Bottom line, it does not happen that way. You could go to a building or a cemetery or, a bridge or wherever you're going. You could go there for 20 years and not get a damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that 21st year you go, bam, you're going to pick up something, and it might be just a small EVP or, just the slightest thing. That's just the way it works. Okay, we have a question from Michael. Susan, I have come across a person in a Nordic style witch cloak with the tree of life on it and the words in the woods, and she said she was gathering pine needles for remedies. Is that a thing?
Mm-hmm. She's probably a Wiccan, I would say. A Wiccan is more they're naturists and they work with remedies and stuff like that. They're kind of like a nature witch, which is a good witch. So that it could be quite possible she's Wiccan.
Right. Yes, isn't it? I think they boil them
Mm-hmm.
and extract the nutrients and stuff from it, because I've heard of that, boiling
Yep.
the actually, believe it or not, I have a witch's cookbook.
Ah.
My girlfriend found it for me at a book, or it was an old bookstore. And she goes, "Oh, I thought you'd enjoy this." And it has recipes in there. So I said, "Well, that's interesting. I'd have to actually, I never even thought I should have brought it out so everybody could see it." Um, it's, I've heard of pine tea. Giselle
Mm-hmm.
said, "Yeah,
Yep.
probably."
I have hit too. Yeah.
My grandmother used to make tea out of these little purple flowers that she would find out in the fields. I don't know what the little flower, they look like little balls, they're all purple. Uh, and she used to pick those and make tea out of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what they were, but she used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, dandelions. I think everybody's had dandelions. Earlis had actually seen 2 full-bodied apparitions.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow,
You
that's
go, girl.
amazing. That's amazing because it's great if you actually seen a full form. I myself, until recently, I have not been able to see like actually forms of spirits. They've come to me in voices or I see them in my mind, but I actually it's incredible. And it's funny, it wasn't until I went to Salem that I feel that I got more open, and that's when I started seeing like spirits in front of
Right.
me walking around in the hotel room. It was crazy.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty neat. Yeah, I haven't
yeah.
had that experience yet.
Yeah. It's crazy, and you do a double take. You're like, oh my god, did I just see the corner of my eye? Oh, maybe it was just my eye. Again, you're doubting yourself, um,
Right.
which a lot of people do. You second guess yourself.
Well, that's a good question. Do you think that, because I know you guys debunk. I know
Mm-hmm.
that Angelina, we all do it. Do you think that we debunk ourselves out of true evidence?
Um, Possibly because there's a great percentage of actually finding paranormal activity. Maybe it's like 95%, not being paranormal.
Right.
But what we try to do is actually try to disprove it. So, for example, if we see pictures are, you could take it to a professional photographer, of course, Kenny Biddle, to see whether or not it was like a double exposure, things like that. But we typically, if we hear if we get a voice on a voice recorder or for EVP, we try to do things, with Angelina again, sets of threes to make sure that we absolutely rule things out of it being, a debunked and it's actually paranormal. Um, so yeah, we try to do the best we can to debunk beforehand.
Right.
And it's funny because when I first started, when I got enrolled in CMPS, there wasn't a lot of debunking going around. So everybody just thought everything was paranormal. Every little
Yeah.
noise, every little, photo, etc., was paranormal. So, you know,
So, yeah. Well, yeah. I agree. I love the debunking community. It's
yeah.
great. They do us a service. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that we do get to a point where I think it can happen. I think that we could go so far as to say, well, now, because
Mm-hmm.
you've already experienced it maybe so many times or whatever. Well,
Yeah.
it was this or it was that, and I think that we can go over the edge
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when it could be actually something that's going on. Let's see. Friday says, if any collected data can be explained with physics or a simple reasoning, it is not paranormal. It's just normal. That alone is almost impossible to define.
Hmm.
Yes, I know. I agree. If you can
Mm-hmm.
explain it, yes. But I think that when you're in the field and you got things going on there, and I mean, because you're going to know the difference between the wind, the car, or whatever. But when you've got something that's touching you, you got that icy cold touch, and it's the touch of a human hand.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to, how do you debunk that?
Yeah.
or it's like I said, it's the circumstance where you're in and the situation that you're in, and I think sometimes we sometimes we can go overboard.
Mm-hmm.
Julie says, I would hate to have abilities. She's already emotional, and if someone is sad, I feel sad. If someone is angry, I feel angry, etc. Guess what, Julie?
Guess what?
You better start liking it, because that is signs of empathic ability.
It is. It is. Julie, my advice to you is try to picture you surrounded by not like a bubble, but like a white light bubble, and try to not have people coming into your bubble. That's the only thing I could explain, because you could be having somebody's energy come to you. It could be really, really draining. So you want to definitely protect yourself. And unfortunately, yes, I agree with Laura. I think you are an empath.
So yeah, that's why I encourage everybody, if they, go online, type
Mm-hmm.
in what is an empath,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll find all kinds of definitions and explanations, and it should help you out. Spookfest. I've asked debunkers to try and debunk my ghost voice. No answer yet. Did you send it to Friday? I sent him my EVP. I sent it my EVP out to several people, uh, because it was a good one, and I just want I want several people to give me their opinion on what they think.
We actually sent a part of our footage to Kenny
Right.
when we were at Penhurst. What was happening is that we had the REM part on the bed, and we had this little toy car that was left there. And we could tell it, I mean, it didn't seem to have a lot of like metal parts to it. It looked basically plastic. But what was
Right.
happening every time we were putting the car um, back and forth, like the REM pod would go off. So we finally sent the footage to Kenny, and he basically said it's static electricity of bringing the wheels of the plastic car back and forth on the mattress is actually charging the REM pod to go off, which
Isn't
was
that amazing?
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I love it when people test the crap out of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The gadgets are fun, but you got to test it,
Yeah.
because there's so much that sets it off. So there's no truth until you got to collect the data. That's the thing. Data, data,
Mm-hmm.
data, guys. And then by the end of God knows how many years you put it all together, then you can piece together, the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Giselle says, I do love meditation. It helps me so much to just get up my energy back at the end of a long day. Yes, it does.
It does.
It's yeah, it does. It's kind of, yeah, it rejuvenates you. It brings you back to center, is what
Mm-hmm.
people like to call
It
it.
does. Yes, to go into a quiet space. Everybody needs that. I try to do it at least once a week. I would love to do it more, but
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to do. Of course, I had more time then. I used to do it every
mhm,
day, and usually, yeah, at the end of the day, just kind of like just to wash off the world. You know what it is? That's what it is.
mhm.
That's what I would call it. You're just washing all of the world off of you, and just rejuvenating yourself. Michael says, "Yep, I don't know what it's called, but if I'm at a graveyard and I get a weird vibe and pull out my cell phone and take pictures, he says 98% of the time I'll capture something."
Hmm.
Well, good for you. Wow. Yeah, I
Mhm,
mean, that's the place you're gonna. It's where you're gonna pick it up. Is
mhm.
definitely in the graveyard. That's why I keep going back, because there's just, you never know what you're gonna come out with.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
that's the fun part.
Mhm.
I get to relax. I have my coffee. I take some pictures of the wildlife, and then I got the recorder going at the same time. So
Yeah, yeah. I honestly want to, mention that it's very hard with our world that we are in. It's very hard to put ourselves first, in front of other people. Like what I mean is work, because we have to deal with everyday life. We have to deal with the stress of work, of course, with families, taking care of our families. So we definitely need to find time for ourselves.
Right.
Because that's how, we're basically like a machine as well. We have to, energize ourselves, mind you.
Yeah. We got to
So
oil up the parts.
we have to take care of ourselves. Take the time and take care of yourselves. You really
Right.
do.
And it's if meditation helps, then hey, that's
Mm-hmm.
the way to go. I mean, not everybody can sit still like that, but I find it to
Mm-hmm.
be. And actually, it's when and I still do it, not as much as I used to. I have time to meditate. I'll just I like to listen to Indian Native American meditation music. It just
Mm-hmm.
something about that just does its thing. It hits my soul. So that's maybe I was an Indian in my past life. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Does anybody have any questions for Susan? Post those. Hi, Sandra. Welcome. Post any questions, paranormal, whatever, we'll be talking about. Just throw them out there. Uh, I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, she doesn't, have, an exact answer you're looking for. At least we can give out opinion.
Yeah.
And that is the fun of the show.
Yeah.
When let's see. Oh, we have a question. I'll give them their question before I give out mine. Let's see. What brought you into the field of the paranormal? Oh, Friday wasn't here when you had first said that, but go
Oh,
ahead, tell everybody again. What brought you into this crazy world of the paranormal?
how I got into this crazy world of the paranormal. Well, to make things quick and dirty, so I, answered an ad for a paranormal group. I ended up taking over the paranormal group because the founder had medical issues. So now I'm Central Mass Paranormal Society, which is my YouTube channel. But I actually feel that I am an empath and a clairvoyant, along with other abilities that I'm trying to figure out and work with every day. But I've also, had abilities when I was younger. I always used to watch ghost hunters and paranormal, TV
Yeah.
shows. At the time, I believe it was just ghost hunters. And I just got into it since then. I mean, it's part of me, I would say, it's just a piece of me now.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Where have you been that you've gotten the most findings?
Um, hmm. Would have been that I got the most findings? I would actually say out of all of them, the SK Pierce Mansion. That's not too far from me either. It's a beautiful, if anybody is in I believe it's in Groton. If anybody's in the area, please, please, please stop by, take a tour of the SK Pierce Mansion. It's unbelievable. The founder, he actually was a furniture. He owned a furniture manufacturer plant. And there's a lot of history with him, his family, his wife that passed. Um, and the mansion itself has, SK Pierce visiting, his wife's visiting, their kids visiting. It's a beautiful place. And when I did a global ghost hunt, what's the global ghost hunt is basically a stream and it's shown all across the world. We did get a couple of experiences there. I would say that was the most incredible place that I have investigated. And I was drawn to it also. And it's really weird when I first knew about the SK Pierce Mansion, I wanted to take a tour there. So I took a tour there, and about 2 to 3 weeks after I took this tour, every single night I was having a dream about that mansion. It was like I was instantly bonded to that mansion. I saw SK Pierce. I saw everyone, the housekeeper and everyone that was, there at the mansion, them coming down the stairs. I greeted them. I said hello to them. I had the same dream until I actually had the global ghost hunt. Which was incredible, and I still feel kind of like a connection to it because that's when I was told that I lived previously in the Victoria stage, medieval stage.
Right.
So that's when I had more of a connection to it. But it is a beautiful mansion. If anybody's in the area, please take a tour there. It's incredible.
Do you feel that those dreams were more like an invitation for you to come back to the mansion?
I still feel like I am. I haven't had the dreams recently, but that mansion is always in my mind for some strange reason. I'm constantly thinking of it still. Eventually I want to go back there again. But I think somehow I'm connected to it. I just don't know how, whether or not it's the era or what, but I feel like I'm somehow connected to it.
Okay, pretty interesting. Friday wants to know, do you rely more on equipment, on your experiences during, or your experiences during the event?
I rely myself as a tool, to be honest. I go in, I feel anything that's around me and I just tune in to see if I get anything. So I basically use myself as a tool. I will go in with, like, when I investigate with Angelina, we have the, video cameras, voice recorders, EVPs, regular cameras. We do go in with equipment, but when I personally do it myself, I just go with minimum tools and just go in.
Have you ever used any of the phone apps?
I honestly don't like them. I haven't had any luck with them. There may be some that are legit, but to me, like the research that I've done on them, a lot of them has already a library of words in the app as it is. So it kind of like spits out various words.
Right. They all have word banks. Yeah.
So, I mean, I haven't really had good experiences with them, or maybe I'm using the wrong ones. I use the phonics. I use, a couple other ones, and maybe there's others out there. But I haven't had any good experiences with them.
Right. Myself, yeah, I'd only had one interesting experience with one that I downloaded before I got to the location, and I shut everything else off and just had that. And I was the only one in the home. Set it down on the dining room table and just sat there, and it just spit out the name Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, okay, and I shut it off. And then when I got back with the homeowner, I says, "Well, tell me." And this is exactly that. I didn't say hello, anything else. I go, "Who's Charlie?" And she says, "Well, Charlie's my brother. He passed away 2 months ago. You're sitting in his chair." I said, "Okay, thank you." And so I found that to be interesting. Why would that app spit out that name in that location?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the very first time I used it.
Hmm.
So it didn't even have time to collect any kind of data off my phone.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Charlie. I didn't know I was in his chair. I knew nothing. And so I left the door open for that because I'm thinking, okay, maybe that was his way of trying to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I haven't had a chance to go back there yet. I plan on it, but then I'm just going to I'll try the app again to see if Charlie comes up again.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'll shut it down and then just do my usual, which is just, the recorder and see what I could pick up, maybe his own voice. Friday wants to know, what are your thoughts on the feeling of being watched?
Don't like it. Because that's how I felt when I was in Salem. All these people were like, know who I was and watching me. It's kind of, I don't know. It could be on edge for some people that haven't experienced it before. What I normally do is, if I know that I'm being watched or a sense that somebody is around me, I just try to connect with them to see, because I think majority of the time they want to know who you are. Like you come into their
Right.
territory and they want to know who you are. I go in, I introduce myself and I say, hey, I don't mean you any harm. I just want to get to know you, and that's how I usually go. That's how I generally go into investigations. So that's how I handle it.
So yeah, being very respectful. It's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do the same. It's
Yeah.
because you got to remember these entities were living beings, in the flesh form, but they're also still living because they're energy, but it's a living energy, and you still need to show them respect. Michael says he would love to co-host with you, but he can't on the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully another time.
Absolutely, Michael. I would love to have you as my co-host. I do have the October 5th. I actually have Stevie from Truth or Demons on with me. And then after that, I have shows every other Saturday. So let's keep in touch and definitely make a Saturday of it in the future.
That'll be fun. We'll all
It would
tune in
be.
to
It would be get to meet
watch
actually Michael, actually
Michael's
see him.
debut.
Yes, yes, yes.
Actually, I had a chance to see Michael on Jimmy's program.
Oh,
Michael
nice.
likes to call in and do his questions, so we got to get a peek of Michael on that program.
That's
Love Jimmy,
awesome.
he's great. So, any other questions, guys, before we let Susan take off for the evening? Get your chance now. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait till next time, because most likely we will have her on again if she's more than willing.
Absolutely.
And always discuss more of your fun adventures.
And anybody, feel free, anyone, to email me. I am on Facebook as well as Susan Victoria, so please message me. Paranormal Happy Hour has their own Facebook, so just reach out to me. And regarding with this group that I want to create, also, anybody that needs support and feel alone, and just reach out to me, because I honestly feel what everybody, some people go through. I honestly do, because I experienced
Sure.
it hand on.
So that'll be great. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what you got to do is, when you get ready to set up that support group
Mm-hmm.
for that, just post it on your page.
Yeah, I will.
So that everybody, can pop over there and they'll keep checking to see when you got it up and running. And I'm sure it'll fill up quick.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's amazing, how many people actually need somebody just to talk to about things that are going on,
Or doesn't even know what's going on with them,
right,
and need
right.
guidance. It could be scary. It
Sure.
really could be.
Oh, anything that's unknown is scary. That's the problem there. So fantastic. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I had a good time. I hope you all did. We got some great information, had some fun. A little religious education that was unplanned, but hey, I hope you enjoyed it anyway.
That's okay. That's okay.
And throw some of that out there. Why not? But hopefully, you guys will join us again. Everybody's always welcome. And Susan, thank you for joining us.
Thank
I had
you.
a great time. I hope you enjoyed it. And anytime you want to come in, hop in, want to co-host, you can. I'm open to that as well.
And same with
Until
you.
then, oh, hey, just hit me up. If I don't have a show going, I'll book it. What the heck?
Alrighty.
You can't never learn too much. That's why always keep learning, guys. And as always, thanks for joining us on the Raw Side. You guys have a great evening.